Too loud. Too soft. Just right. Okay. Happy Saturday evening. Okay, we're gonna get started now in a second. I really need to stop saying happy Friday and happy Saturday to people, because depending on the person you say it to, they'll either be very happy or very annoyed. So you can kind of guess where that's going. But welcome to this stream on this lovely Saturday evening, and I assume early afternoon for everybody else, or even nighttime depending on where you are. This stream is going to be going over a few things, so let me just make sure everything's okay. Okay, sounds good, mic's good, I assume everybody can hear me and see me, so we should be fine. So, as I said, we're going to be going through a few things. The title of the stream, Catchup for Dawntrail. So, I've pecked at Dawntrail constantly in videos and my previous live streams as well, but I want to go over it one more time. We're less than a month away from the release of Dawntrail, so I want to, mainly for my own sake as well, I want to just go through everything, and especially with the new promotional site as well. There was a few clarifications on the lore. I'm not going to go into too much theory mode in this one. I'm going to keep the theories to a minimum. I want to go over the cold hard facts as much as I can anyway. We'll go through the promotional site first, then I'm going to go through my playthrough recording of 6.55, which elaborates on the lore of Dawntrail, particularly around the lovely wyrmlimion standing over here. And we'll go through a few other bits and bobs as well. So, with that in mind, let's get started. So, I think I'll just leave him here. It usually gets noisy. Actually, I'll move away, because people just tend to cause a ruckus around Charlian. Alright, I'll park your butt up here. There you go. Right, we'll stick there for now. Alright, so first off, the promotional site. So we get a promotional site with every expansion. I think the old ones are actually still up. Actually, I'm frankly curious now, so let's try this, right? So ff14 Endwalker promotional site. Or does it change? No? Oh, it must redirect. Maybe. I clicked on the right link, didn't I? Okay, they're redirecting to the main site then. So the links still exist, but they all redirect to the primary website. Okay. Alright, fair enough. Enough about that though. We have Dawntrail to talk about. So, yeah, everybody's coming in. Rue, good to see you. Happy Saturday. The memes about this logo still have not ended. I mean, I can't not see a Star Destroyer. It pisses me off, the fact that I see the Star Destroyer, but it's like memes in general. Memes ruin the experience for you. So you see something a particular way, then somebody points it out a particular way, and suddenly you can't not see it. So I try to see Tyroliol as much as I can, and the lovely palace, but it sucks. It's like with the lyrics for Heart of Sabik. Like, beat the Heart of Sabik. People go like big fat tacos, and I'm just like, I had to train my mind to hear beat the Heart of Sabik, because I refuse to hear big fat tacos, and it worked. I retrained my mind. Well, enough about that. So, let's get started on this now. So, I've gone over this promotional site a little bit. I haven't gone too much into it, to be honest. I wanted to save it for this. I love this dragon. It's very Quetzalcoatl. Very European dragon worm. So, it looks really good. I can't remember exactly what its name is, but I really like it. I don't even think it's classified as a dragon, to be honest. I mean, if you want some FF-related Aphonia in the logo, there's Ultimecia's Castle and Proto-Falsi Adam. Possibly Cloudkin. I'll actually look at that later. Thank you. I love this artwork, first off. So, I'm assuming all the artwork is on the promotional site as well. I was looking for the older artwork today, I didn't check the site though, so I'm assuming it's all there. Tural looks like a really cool city. I mean, you can clearly see the Aztec and Inca influence on it. And the pyramid itself, it looks like a natural pyramid. So, I really like that aspect of the design. And it makes a statement as well. This is the capital. So, having defeated the despair of the final days, the Warrior of Light and their comrades have resumed walking their respective paths. Yet fate would see them reunited for a mission onto another reflection. And now an unexpected mission has arrived, beckoning them west to the faraway continent of Tural. Answer the call, seek new horizons, and embark upon an adventure the likes of which you have never experienced. That's a bold claim. We're this far into FF14's life cycle. An adventure like we've never experienced. You better back that up. I'm assuming someone just wrote that just for the sake of it, but don't make promises you can't keep. I mean, Endwalker would be hard to top in my regard. So I hope it does a lot. I'm assuming it's going to be honest. It's a new era. We'll see where it goes. But let's see. Tural is comprised... Oh, Tural is comprised... Is that supposed to be a composed or comprised? Never mind. Okay. Tural is composed of a rich tapestry of cultures, now united as a single nation. In this vibrant land awaits new friends, fearsome foes, and unforgettable stories. Pretty much. So, we'll start with the world first, I'm assuming. So, the new continent. Towards new horizons in Tural, and we have a much better map. Happily enough, I'll show you that in a second. Somebody translated it as well, so I'm going to be relying on that. So, let's start with Tural itself. Comprised of two great landmasses, Zak Tural to the north and Yok Tural to the south, the New World lies far to the west of Eorzea's shores. Its many and diverse people spent centuries mired in territorial wars, until the epic deeds of Galul Jaja and his dream of Tural saw them united under the banner of a single nation. So, we start off with the city itself. So, the city of Tural, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. Tural. I'm just going to call it Tural. The city of Tural marches up the side of a mountain. The path from its coastal harbour to the lofty palace at its summit, marked by a profusion of slopes and stairs. Not unlike South America, really. Embodying the ideals of the nation which it shares its name, this ever-bustling metropolis is home to a population drawn from the lands of Tural. All the lands of Tural, rather. And we have the standard screenshots, which we've already seen regarding Tural. So you have the coastal area just going into the main town, the coast again, and the coast. All three screenshots of the coast. Okay, never mind. So, that's the first part. So... We'll go to the map now in a second. So, Solution 9. NPC 12, good to see you. Solution 9. A city towering facades constructed by an entirely different civilization than that of Tural. What chain of events could possibly bring you to this strange place? And we have a few screenshots, but not many. There is screenshots missing from this. There was extra screenshots of this area. And we got the new areas. So let's look at the map first, actually, just before we do anything else. I have it open, don't I? Yeah, I do. So let's start with the map. I was staring at this map today. So hyped for the Solution 9. So is everybody. People are dying to know, and myself included, what the hell Solution 9 is all about. And how it fits. But that's actually what I'm going to talk about next. So I caught myself staring at this map for a while, and whoever translated this, thank you very much. I caught myself staring at it, and naturally it's modeled after the Americas, and the continent itself is called Tural. So I suppose a bit of backstory would actually be preferred. So yeah, let's do a backstory of what Tural is first of all. So let me make sure I can see the chat. So, the backstory of Tural, and whatever it used to be called, is we know that there was contact between the Allegan Empire and Tural in the distant past, thousands of years ago. That's evident by the Mamulja, which are located within Circus Tower. So clearly, thousands of years ago, Allag's vast reach stretched to Tural in some way. We don't know exactly how much, but I'd say we'll find out soon enough. But enough about that. Contact would essentially be lost with Tural after this point. So after the Empire fell, Eorzea just started caring about its own internals, essentially. And this happened for thousands of years. And it wouldn't be until roughly... The lore says 80 years ago, but we have to count time going forward. So I'd say 90 years ago now. The New World was rediscovered by Ketemram, who is a Rogadin who hailed from Limsa Lominsa. At least I think, yeah, he is a Rogadin, yeah. But yeah, he sailed from Limsa Lominsa. He came over and he made landfall somewhere. So I'm going to assume he made landfall somewhere near Tyroliol, because Tyroliol existed at this point. Now, this would have been early in Tyroliol's history. We don't know exactly how old this city is, but we do know the reign of the sitting Dawn servant, Galul Jaja, started 80 years ago. So we don't know what the story is, what this city actually looked like. But Ketemram arrived with his cohorts, and they got on good terms with Galul Jaja, and then they started exploring around this continent, either on the north or the south, we're not really sure. They did map out certain parts of the region, certain bits of information. They did bring back a lot of seeds. So a lot of the staple foods that we have in Eorzea today, like ruby tomatoes, papatos, there's pumpkins as well, were all brought from the New World. So if you're ever wondering where the papato came from, papato is native to Tural. So I'm expecting potato farms when we get there. Now, yeah, that's something I skipped over, Ruth. Apologies. So essentially, between the point where, well, apparently for thousands of years, up until roughly 80 to 100 years ago when Galul Jaja became the Dawn Servant, this continent was racked with territorial conflict. You'd have tribes, you'd have small cities popping up and disappearing, all vying for control, which is why the map looks like a bit of a hodgepodge at the moment. So I think this is a remnant of what the map used to be looking like. Essentially, you'd have these tribes all fighting with each other. I'm assuming the tribes that used to fight with each other all still exist, but they all exist under the one banner now. So even though this city exists now, these individual tribes and nations all are still around, but they're all under one nation now. It's just they identify differently. So we're going to start encountering all of them on our travels. Now, back to Ketenram. So, Ketenram, I'm not exactly sure how long he spent here. I think he spent like a year or something on this continent, and then he came back to Limsa Lominsa. He actually tried to name this continent. What did he try to name it? Ketemland. So he tried to name it after himself. And if I remember my world history correctly, that has a lot of precedent in world history in regards to the Americas, because if I recall correctly, after the first explorers found the Americas and reported back to Europe, I think a lot of different explorers that followed tried to give a naming designation to these continents, and I think the Americas was the one that won out, if I recall correctly. So I think the name Americas was actually the name that won. I'm not exactly sure where I heard that, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. And then, yeah, the term America would live on. So, Ketemram, not egotistical or vain at all, just tried to name an entire continent after himself, despite the fact that people lived there, and he likely heard what the name was. So he went back to Limsa Lominsa, despite contacting all these people, and he wanted to name the continent after himself. Whatever you want to do. He could have just named it anything he wanted. But in the end, people just kept calling it the New World. which is also has presidents. So back in the likes of the early 20th century, even the 19th century, if I recall correctly, the New World was one of the designations they gave to America. Like, people already knew it was America, but the New World was usually a designation given to the overall continent itself, and the Old World was a designation given to Europe. I think that largely ended after World War II, I think. But yeah, that's where the naming convention for the New World comes from. So that's the name that stuck with us. Now, travel to Tural and Tural pretty much was non-existent after Catamaran returned. It seemed to be almost a fluke that Catamaran got there, because there was no proper traffic between Tural and Eorzea. It wouldn't be until a few decades ago, or a couple of decades ago, that Merlwyb would sail successfully from Limsa over to the New World again, and then returned. But she established a proper route from getting from A to B. So that's how the proper shipping route was opened up between Tural and Eorzea, thanks to Merlwyb and her crew. And that's how all the people traffic started to go back and forth as well, like the Mamulja we see all over Eorzea, for example. They followed that sea route, and that's going to be the sea route we're going to be following as well. Now, we need to go back to the promotional site for a sec, so we need to start going over the lands. So, the first land we have is, I'm going to call it Urkopaka, because that does sound like a proper pronunciation. This is the landmass to the south of Tural. I can never pronounce that correctly. This mountainous region of Tural is inhabited by two peoples of vastly different stature. The child-sized Pelu, which are the kind of Lalafell looking ones, and the Gargantuan Hui, which are the big hulking guys. Such disparities, however, shrink in significance before the brooding majesty of Wukor Zomor, the tallest peak in Tural. And we don't really know much about this peak, other than the fact that it's freaking gigantic. I don't think it has a real-world precedent in terms of our world map. I don't think there's a peak like this in South America in that location anyway. She got the route in her sights. Yeah, that's a nice pun. Death penalty. Paka means earth. Okay, so I'd be interested to know what Urko actually means. I wonder if it has a translation. The Mountain of Earth. Okay. So that's what the name means. The Mountain of Earth. Which makes sense if you look at that. The Mountain of Earth. So that's what the translation is. Nice call out, Max. Okay. So we have a few screenshots of this location. Pretty much everything that we've already seen. Their aetheryte is pretty unique as well. It's very big on the top and pretty small on the bottom. I'm assuming this rotates as well. Everybody has their own unique take on aetherytes, and I'm assuming aetherytes were introduced by Charlian. Incan, if I recall. Okay, that would make sense. Okay, yeah, because this particular part that's where the Incan Empire was around this mountain range. That's the... What's that mountain range called? The Andes? Is it? The guy that discovered America was named America. Okay, that makes a lot more sense then. So he successfully named the continent after himself. So unlike Catamaran, he actually succeeded. Interesting. My American history is not the best, unfortunately. Alright, next zone. Lots of birds. Yaktel. Or Yaktiel. I'm assuming that's Yaktiel. These dense woodlands can be reached by dirigibles which cross the mountain range of the southeast of Tural. Well, he figured out America was in India. Fair. I assume the world maps looked very different back then, didn't they? The highlands are rich in game and settled by the the Zibral. I don't think we've ever gotten the proper... I'm assuming we never got a picture of these things, did we? Or did we? No. Okay. It's inhabited by these guys, whoever they are, or whatever they are. The lowlands, where the thick canopy blocks the sunlight, are inhabited by the Mamulja. Okay, so the highlands are rich in game and settled by whoever they are, and the lowlands are settled by the Mamulja. And you've got this pure-looking mage standing here as well. Okay, so the region is dotted with naturally occurring wells known as cenotes. Cenotes are, yeah, that's from South American history as well. Those used to be large, like, holes in the earth. If I recall correctly, cenotes, yeah, they're like natural wells, if I recall correctly. It's a giant hole in the ground. And if I know my history correctly, they used to sacrifice people by throwing people into them, if I recall. Yeah, so that's what a cenote is. I recall sacrifices used to happen by throwing people into it. But yeah, a natural water source. So we still don't have many pictures of what this place looks like. I'm interested to know who these people are, the Zibral. I'm assuming it's settled by somebody, so it's obviously a civilization of company. It's not like animals or anything like that. There's a cenote at the end of the Alola's route as well. I don't remember that. I'm assuming this is not a Mamulja settlement. I'd be interested to know who these people are. That's the Highlands, anyway. So, and that location for that, yeah, so that's Yaktel here. And you can see on the map as well, the cenotes. So I'm assuming there's a, I would have thought that was a lake, but I'm assuming these are large cenotes. And there's probably smaller ones all dotted around. But Yaktel is a very unique location in that it has these mountains around it. So it's almost entirely surrounded by mountain range, and the main entrance is here. So I'm assuming that's how we get there. We travel around and then we go in there, or there's a mountain pass that we go through in order to get here. And I'm assuming the highlands are here, and then these are the lowland basin. So, next location. Kozama Yuka. I know I'm butchering all of these names. To the south of Tural stretch the verdant forests of Kozama Uka. Rivers great and small flow from mountains to the west and pour into the region, creating breathtaking waterfalls which we saw in the main trailer. Although the peoples which inhabit the region resemble goblins and the Vanu Vanu, they each have built unique cultures within this vast wilderness. It's interesting that there's cultures of goblins and Vanu Vanu in Tural as well. And we have them both in Eorzea as well. We do know goblins get around. Goblins have migrations. They've traveled from different parts of the world. I think that's how their entire civilization operates. At least the goblins we know in Eorzea. They'll settle a place for a particular point of time, and then they'll just pack up everything and they'll move on. So the goblins that are inhabiting Idleshire at the moment are only recently arrived there. Or they've been in Eorzea for a few years, but eventually they'll just pack up and move on. Maybe Charlene can finally move back in. But yeah, this is probably the zone I'm most looking forward to, because it does look pretty iconic. I'm hoping we can walk on these mountains as well, but I'm not really sure. I'd say they're probably similar to the landmass of Thavnir as well, that we won't get to see them. But it does look like we can get pretty close to them up here, I'd say. It's a nice location, nice jungle / coastal region. But the striking landmass is very good. That is surprising considering how much work the gobos are putting into Idleshire. I don't think their buildings can walk. Nah, they're not going to take the buildings with them, but as far as I'm aware, every 100 years or so they do a giant migration. Because they did a giant migration into Eorzea in the first place. They're not native to Eorzea. I think they came from the east. And they migrated into Eorzea at some point. And eventually they'll migrate again, wherever they want to go. But the fact that there is a colony of them in Kozama Uka would suggest that there's probably a particular goblin offshoot that decided to just permanently settle. And the same with the Vanu Vanu. But I'd like to know if these goblins of Vanu Vanu are actually native to Tural itself. I'd be interested to know, and we're going to find out, assuming, how the Vanu Vanu actually got there, or maybe the Vanu Vanu we know in Eorzea came from here. Never know. Might have been brought by the Elegants, you never know. So, Shaloni, which is the arid desert kind of region that we noticed in the main trailer as well, when I was gonna say, when the Spriggan flies across the bridge and we see this big arid desert region, that's Shaloni. So, the rain-starved plains of this region, located in central Tural, make for the striking contrast of the virgin surroundings of its largest lake. The discovery of cerulean deposits in recent years has brought sweeping change to the area, including the construction of a railroad, even as local peoples maintain their cultural traditions. So I find this interesting. And I'll come back to this in a few minutes, but I'm not going to go into theory mode just yet. But yeah, we do remember this location from the trailer. And it is this location here. Or where is it? Sorry, this is up here. Sorry, to the north. So it's mostly a desert region up here, which is a contrast to pretty much that's where Texas is, if I recall correctly. So you've got this arid region. The train is Uldan's. Yeah, we never saw that train, did we? This many years down the line, we still haven't seen that damn train. I do hope we see this train. I would love for that's something. I'd love for a train to move back and forth in this map. I really hope we get something like that. But yeah, it's mostly arid desert region. It kind of looks like Texas as well, doesn't it? In Arizona. I'd be looking forward to see exactly what this zone is about, but we didn't get much information about it. I'm assuming it's settled by, I'm going to say the Pelu Pelu are probably there. Put coins and rocks on the rails for achievements. I used to put coins on the rails to flatten them. That was a long time ago. Nice childhood I had. Then you have heritage found. In this region overflowing with lightning energies, thick thunderclouds blot out the sun, while streaks of purple leaven illuminate the land day and night. Okay, yeah, so whatever this is, whatever that platform is, it's not on the map, is it? I'm assuming it's around here. In Solution 9, or near Solution 9, or outside Solution 9. But yeah, we do have a couple of screenshots of what this area looks like. There's our starting area. You can just see the elegant influence though, can't you? But there's also a lot of... I'm not going into theory mode, no. If I go into theory mode, I'm not going to stop. But yeah, it's a very nice looking area. I can't wait to see exactly what this area is about. The tower's not actually that big. Like, when you look at the art, it looks gigantic. But when you look at the actual gameplay, it's not actually as big as it looks. So, that'll be interesting to find out as well. We don't know where Heritage Found is either, as I said. Well, I'd assume it's probably around here. Now, that's pretty much all the areas that's actually gone into. I'm assuming maybe we'll get a couple of teasers regarding the rest of them. I mean, there is a bunch of other areas that have been named here. So you've got this area here. There's another area to the north of Shaloni. So I'm assuming that's where Heritage Found is. Because you do see this screenshot here. So there's a giant wall here. So I'm assuming that's the other area. Assuming it's a zone. Then you have, yeah, Kazumaka, we've already gone through. I like this. Shades Triangle. So, a nod to the Bermuda Triangle. And you have the wrecks and stuff like that here. So, I like the fact that they put that there. So, they're constantly putting in real world references, and I like that. So, the Great Shallows as well. I'm not exactly sure what the world reference is for this. But... yeah, I'm not really sure. I know Cape Horn is probably down here, but that's way off the map. And we have that similar bird that we saw before, or dragon, or whatever it is. And then you have an actual looking normal dragon down here. So I'd be interested to know what the story is with this dragon. Like, is this where Tiamat ended up? Did she not go back to Mericidia? Never know. And then you have Tiak Tiak. Tiak Tiak. I'm going to Google that. So T-Y-A-K, T-Y-A-K. Is there any real world reference to something like that? Nope. Completely fabricated words. Don't know exactly what this is. But we do have a lot of locations on this continent. But I do really quickly want to reference this continent before we go on further. We know that, going back to its history again, it was fraught with conflict. And you have this location here, which seems to be a very advanced civilization. It strikes me as weird that this entirely advanced civilization didn't just conquer everything else, because usually the most advanced peoples are the ones that rule. Allegan Empire, prime example. Unless this thing is relatively new. We don't know exactly how old Solution 9 is or where it came from. But I just find it weird. I'll be interested to know exactly how much scope the Dawn Servant and Tural have over Tural itself. Because this is the entire continent of Tural. So it's two portions. You have Zak Tural, then you have Yok Tural. But is the Dawn Servant's reach only this part of the continent, or does it extend to everything? Because the capital is up here in the middle. But I'm not sure how much of their influence actually extends. Just judging from what we've seen with the screenshots and stuff like that, I'm assuming that their influence is pretty much this, which is like the equivalent of South America, and then you have North America up here, because look at the distance between Solution 9 and Tural. So I wouldn't be surprised if these lands are ruled by a nation here, and they're on good terms with Tural and the Dawn Servant. So it's a North America, South America situation. Because we've never gotten any information about that, but I'm going to assume, I'm going to stop going into theory mode now, that his reach is primarily this part of the continent, because this is where most of our exploring is happening. You saw it in the promotional site. We're going here, 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 and around. And we go up here once, and we saw Solution 9 as well. But I'm assuming that, yeah, this is where most of our activities are going to be happening. And maybe towards the end, we're up here. So we start off here, we start exploring here, 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 and then we go back to Tural for some messing around midway through our leveling cycle, and then we end up here. And hopefully the Shades Triangle as well. Maybe a dungeon here. I wouldn't mind a dungeon there. I like the fact that there's a giant rift, like a fault line, in between these two continents. They're two continents essentially, almost. But these two land masses are split in the middle. Now, if I recall my geography correctly, there is actually a fault line that runs between them, but both of their plates are very large in our own world. So this is an entire plate, I think, and there's a plate here, which is already referenced here actually. And then there's a giant plate here and another one here, I think. So it's an interesting just reference there, and it does look really cool in the trailer. But yeah, I'm gonna theory mode again because I'll just ramble on and on. But I just find the fact that the proximities between these two nations are so close, and yet this arguably less advanced civilization is on top. It's counterintuitive to history of FF14 that we've learned because of the Allegan Empire. So that's something we're going to find out soon enough. There's a bunch of earthquakes in those areas as well. I would imagine so as well. I'd say there'd be a lot of earthquakes. Earthquakes is not something we ever get referenced in FF14 as well. Now, what else did I want to talk about? Yeah, so I suppose we'll go on to... Well, let's look at the rest of the promotional site first before we go anywhere else. So, We've gone through... Yeah, so we have this new threat, which is Valigarmanda. This legendary beast, held to be the mightiest in all of Tural, is possessed of a serpentine body and the wings of a bird. Each time it is embarked upon a rampage, it has inflicted terrible scars upon the land, for which it has come to be dreaded as the Sky Rune. Now, we don't know anything about this thing. I think the name is new. I don't think we've ever gotten the name before, have we? I don't recall them ever saying the name in a live letter. Or maybe I'm mistaken. It's a very big beast, very cool looking, very dragon looking as well. But it's similar to other beasts that we've seen before. But it does resemble like a European great worm. So I'll be interested to know exactly what the story is behind this. It's a legendary beast. I'm assuming this will probably be one of our extreme fights. Halfway during our level cycle. Maybe we encroach upon its territory. Then, of course, we have the Eliminator, which looks very, very advanced and very, very armed and ready to go. I'm assuming that's going to be in Heritage found, to be honest. Maybe it's guarding the gates. It's closer to a Quetzalcoatl as well. The thing is, we've seen a Quetzalcoatl. Or at least we've saw the ancient approximation of a Quetzalcoatl. But yeah, it does resemble the real world mythology of what a Quetzalcoatl is supposed to look like, if I recall correctly. It was a large serpentine creature. And then you had the barrel tender, of course, which still looks derpy as hell. The Pelupelus. So we finally got a little bit of lore about them as well. As deft of hand as they are of tongue, this diminutive people from Urkopaka are best known for their skill as merchants, traveling the continent upon their alpacas to peddle tea, coffee, mezcal, and fabrics. What's mezcal? I'm assuming this is a reference to something that actually exists. Mezcal? Ah, booze. Okay, so booze. It's booze. So they're peddling their tea, coffee, booze, and fabrics woven from the wool of their steeds. Their masks are an indubitable symbol of reliability, marking all who don them as trustworthy partners in trade. Okay, so the masks are interesting. So the mask is like a rite of passage, essentially, that if you're wearing one and you're a Pelupelu, you're trustworthy. But what stops an untrustworthy Pelupelu from wearing one? I like them already for their booze. Now that you know they have booze, exactly. So we have a bit more information about the other tribes as well. So the Moblins. So the Moblins of Kozamauka share some remarkable similarities to goblins, not least of all in appearance. Renowned for their ability to unearth the finest and rarest, these collectors facilitate the creation of beautiful metalworks by providing their contracted artisans with superior materials and working environs. So they're similar in a lot of ways to the goblins that we know, but I mean, in terms of we can't really see their skin except for their ears, but they're pretty much they're goblins, but they're a different tribe. I recall there being a cheer around when mezcal mentioned in Dawntrail was explained in the Las Vegas Fan Fest. Okay, that makes a lot more sense then. I'm assuming mezcal is probably meant something else in America. Moblins are gatherer, goblins are crafters. Yeah, so these guys are specialists in... Maybe that's where the rift came from. So maybe the goblins were all one tribe once upon a time. Then the schism happened when some of them wanted to focus more on gathering, the others wanted to focus more on crafting. Tequila is a type of mezcal. Oh, so it's tequila. So I'll go back and say it again then. Oh, it's back here. So traveling the continent upon their alpaca to peddle tea, coffee, tequila, and fabrics. Well, yeah, a lot of people like them already. I don't drink, but I like them. I like them for tea. The Mamulja. Hailing from the lower forests of Yaktel, the Mamulja are divided into 3 distinctive clans, each possessed of singular talents. The Hubigo, Bunuwa, and Dopro. I don't think they were ever named before like this. Once the Mamulja fought bitterly with the people of the Zibral. Again, we don't know who Zibral are. But after the establishment of the Tural, many chose a life of peace within the city instead. So, the Mamulja are native to Yaktel. So this is apparently where all Mamulja come from. But they're everywhere now, so they're in the capital and they're dotted all around here. But they originally came from here, and they probably just spread out. Yeah, there's the Yokhui. So the Yokhui are an interesting one as well. These are, or they used to be, the rulers of Tural, if I recall correctly. In ancient times, these giants of Urupaka dominated the Turali continent. But several centuries ago their power waned, and they withdrew to a secluded mountain home. Sparse though they are in number, the Yokhui continue to immortalize their existence with glyphic traditions, according to the unique beliefs of life and death. Unique beliefs of life and death. The page actually does reveal who the Yibral are. Does it? It's on a later slide. Okay, thank you. So, yeah, the Yokhui are an interesting one. They look almost like Gigas, except for their eyes are different. But yeah, these guys apparently used to be the rulers of the continent until they were... I'm assuming they were outperformed by the Mamulja and everybody else, and now their numbers are pretty much non-existent. We saw one in the gameplay trailers as well, which was really cool. So I expect to see a lot more of them, maybe participating in the contest as well. And then the Hanu. Though their resemblance to are many, the Hanu of Kaluzamar bear notable differences to their Vanu counterparts, not least of which being the distinctive hue of their feathers. Revering the great bird Kixali, so I'm assuming that's their quote-unquote god or primal, they reside in waterside environments, where they cultivate the verdant reeds upon which they subside. Is that a name we reckon? Oh, the name comes up. Queltzali. Oh. Okay. That's interesting. Let me read this over for a second. So, Quetzali, also known as Palidor or Kixahi, is a recurring creature in the Final Fantasy series. It debuted as an Esper in Final Fantasy. That's where I recognize that bloody name from. And there's a Quetzali in 11. Quetzali is a great bird worship. Yeah, so somebody's already updated the wiki as well. What's a Quetzali look like? So it looks like a giant... It's going to be a giant bird, essentially. It's a giant parrot. It's a giant parrot, essentially. Valleygarma and this thing are both from 6. Okay, interesting. I haven't played 6 in decades, so I can hardly remember 6 anymore. Which is weird. I usually remember the Espers rather well. Alright. There's nothing left on the page, so I'm assuming we'll go to jobs next. The jobs one actually got updated with lore, if I recall correctly. So, where's the lore? There. Among the myriad beasts of Tural, a select few awaken to a pre-natural power, becoming what are known as Tural Vidral. To overcome the threat of these almighty beings, hunters studied one of nature's deadliest predators, one capable of overcoming foes greater even than themselves, the Viper. They are swift and agile, with dual blades like fangs to bite, to combine into a single weapon to weave around the battlefield. Named for the serpent that inspired their fighting style, the Vipers of Tural remain steadfast in their duty to defend the people. So if I look at them from that perspective of the way their lore is described, it's almost like... Sorry, one second. Yeah, it's almost like... Yeah, it's like they're inspired by martial arts. Because there's... Which martial arts is it? I think it's pretty sure it's Wushu. Yeah, so it feels like they're inspired by martial arts like this. Like, there's Chinese martial arts, a lot of them are inspired by animals. And they use animals as a reference in order to build the martial arts. I think Shaolin Kung Fu is another one that uses animals, katas, if I recall correctly. But it makes sense that they developed a martial art based around an animal, because there's a real world precedent for that in Chinese martial arts. So that's interesting. But I assume we're going to get further elaboration on that. But we still don't know who's going to teach us these arts either, or where they're going to be located. But they have to be located in Eorzea, because we can't travel to Tural until we have the proper level, and we won't have it with the Viper. So maybe it's a visitor to Charlian from Tyrolio. Then we have the Pictomancer. Though the 5th Astral Era is most famously associated with the War of the Magi, a wealth of lesser known legends were forged by that bygone era. Among them is the tale of Archon Realm, an itinerant artist, I can never pronounce that word, and mage who relinquished her traditional staff for the magic brush. With this, she would render abstract images to life, establishing an entirely new school of magic in doing so. Masters of this arcane discipline follow in the Archon's footsteps, wielding vibrant hues of aether to invoke all manners of fantastical beasts, weapons and landscapes from their mind's eye. For the source of the Pictomancer's power lies not in their artistic skill, but the richness of their imagination, with which they strive to paint a brighter future. So you don't have to be a great artist, you just have to get a basic image right, essentially. Yeah, monks are an example as well of animal forms as well, so we already have one job that does that. Now, this Pictomancer lore is interesting. So the art was apparently invented in the 5th Astral Era, which, if I recall, is usually called an era of magic as well. And yeah, there was a lot of other events going on during that era, specifically the War of the Magi. But apparently Archon Realm lived during that era as well, so that's confirmation that Realm is definitely not around. She's long gone. But her arts live on. The fact that she's an Archon, she likely earned her Archon title by inventing Pictomancy. And given typical Charlian tradition, I'd say, the arts were probably written down for posterity, or passed on. I'm assuming the arts were passed on as well. I'm not going to say that Kryl didn't learn these arts from a book, but in the end, somebody's going to have to teach us these arts, and it's not going to be Kryl. So, I'll be interested to know exactly who's going to be teaching these arts. I'm assuming it's somebody in Charlian is going to be teaching us. It's probably the same person who taught Kryl. I'd assume Kryl was taught by somebody. But I like that. I like that lore. I like that lore a lot. The fact that it traces its roots to a couple of eras past. That's goodness. I like that. And it's something I'm looking forward to picking up the day Dawntrail starts. Now, there's nothing else on that page, so gameplay is not something I'm really going to go into, but it does give us some more locations. Oh yeah, that thing as well, yeah. So, Echoes of Vana'diel. Adventurers beckon to an altogether different world, Vana'diel. What challenges await in this new Alliance raid crossover with ffxiv? So, and the boat stranded in Gerbani Mountain confirms Charlian predate the floods. That's correct as well. No, not necessarily. Charlian wasn't... No, they weren't around prior to the flood. They were founded after. Check systems also, just in case. Okay, I will after that. So, Echoes of Vana'diel is... They still haven't given us much information about it. We have 2 screenshots. My ff11 knowledge is not the best, but I'm assuming this is a big bad in 11. I can recognize the races. So, the Taru, for example. Mistel, and everybody else. So, is this going to be a crossover, or are we going to discover a link somehow to FF11? We already have a link from the events, so we know crossovers between our world and their world have happened. And maybe she's going to show up again. I can't remember her name to save my life. She's not in the artwork though, but that's to be expected. Shadow Lord is the first big bad. Think Gaius or La Habrea. Okay, that's fair then. Thank you for that. I really need to play that game again. It's been so long. But I'm assuming it's going to be a world crossover. Maybe it's a reflection. I doubt it. I highly doubt it's a reflection. But they have been hinting at us seeing other worlds, so it's entirely possible that we will get to in the Great Beyond. So that's the Alliance raid. Then we have the Arcadian. So, new raid series with our new dual tower fans. Here at the Arcadian, you'll find a grand spectacle unlike any other. The realm's greatest fighters pit themselves... The realm's greatest fighters pit fist against fist and magic against magic, putting their lives on the line as crowds howl in clamour, each class more visceral than the last. Step into the arena if you dare, and either rise to become champion or fall forever into ignominy. Did they elaborate on the Arcadian's lore before? I don't remember hearing about this. So the Arcadian it's a tournament. It's a contest similar to the contest for the throne. I'm assuming this is going to be... It reminds me of like an anime like Kengan Ashura, where you have these participants and they're all going to be fighting each other. So this is not going to be like we're fighting for the sake of the world or something like that. This is going to be a tournament that we're going to be entering. So maybe after we get through with the events of the story of Dawntrail and we get to level 100, our deeds are known far and wide throughout the continent of Tural, and we're invited to participate in this tournament. That sounds cool. That's something I can definitely get behind, and it's obviously in Solution 9 by the looks of it. It's the Thunderdome. Yeah, that's probably another way of putting it. But this thing is still highly sus. Everybody's still sus about that. But the fact that it's something like that, a fighting tournament, that's definitely something I can get behind. No end of the world stakes, no threat to humanity. I like that. I'm looking forward to that now. So we get to fight the best of the best, maybe invited from all over the world. Nice. I can't wait to see what kind of enemies we end up coming against. Futures rewritten ultimate, so we have a new ultimate raid coming in. Not really much I need to say about this. It's not really Dawntrail lore related. New dungeons. Across the vast continent of Tural, adventurers will face challenging new dungeons and unprecedented threats. With perils and pitfalls at every turn, it will take steadfast unity and careful coordination to emerge victorious. Now, we've already seen some examples of what these dungeons are. We have the big river ride, so we're going to be fighting on this for a while until we get to where we're going. And then we disembark, likely to go where we need to go. Cenote? I'm assuming it looks like a cenote. There's no... there is water in it. So we don't know where that looks like the jungle, again. And then, I'm assuming this is the mountain region as well. Looks really cool. I can't remember exactly what was at top of this. This was shown in the benchmark, if I recall correctly. So that's interesting. I like that. This gives me like Guild Wars 2 vibes, you know? There was a region that looked exactly like that. Looks very visceral, very wild, very like worlds come to an end sort of thing. Then we have the cosmic exploration. New lifestyle content. Adventurers in space. Your curiosity and creativity will fuel a journey that's truly out of this world. We still don't really have much information about that, but it's clearly the moon. And then we have Aetheris up above us. And we're apparently just getting to work on the moon, essentially. But not much information we can actually share about this, although the races look a bit strange. I'm assuming that's a Hrothgar, right? How do we breathe? Yeah, that's a question that's never been answered. We've not really understood how we breathe, but it's assumed to be a miracle by Hydaelyn that she gave us an atmosphere. I mean, the moon is technically her creation. Or maybe there's an atmospheric generator that's giving us air. We don't know. It's allowing everything to live, essentially. What's this? Okay, new field operations. Even the most dauntless of sailors would sooner abandon ship than steer into Shade's Triangle. Okay, Shade's Triangle. Be not fooled by the lush and fertile land you spy on the horizon. Men and vessels alike have been lost to its allure, never to be seen again. Yes, the wisest choice is to dismiss it as mere illusion. But of course there are inevitably those who cannot resist the call of adventure. So that's where our field operations are going to be happening, in the Shade's Triangle. Okay. So that's where our equivalent of the Bosja content is going to be happening, in the Shade's Triangle. Interesting. I wonder exactly why we're going there. I'm assuming there's going to be lots of mysteries that are left there. And then of course we have the new limited job of Beastmaster. Capable of taming the wildest creatures and fiercest fiends. Beastmasters have unparalleled affinity with their charges. Work continues apace to bring this new limited job to the game. So, if I recall correctly, it's not getting added yet. What's the other changes here? PvP updates, naturally. Unreal Trials, of course. Inconceivably further Hildebrand adventures. Yeah, he got launched off somewhere, so he's going to land in Tural, obviously. Variant dungeons. A new deep dungeon. If I recall, somebody said to me that this is the confirmation that they were looking for, right? That a new deep dungeon was coming. They never actually confirmed it until this actually happened. I think a friend of mine said that a few days ago. So, confirmation we are getting a deep dungeon. Gold Saucer updates. I'll be interested to know more about this. If it's just Triple Triads updates, I'll be kind of annoyed. Trials and Blue Mage updates. Naturally, because Blue Mages do come from Tural. Alright, Rue, you said system, so we're going to have a look at system now. Immerse yourself in the beauty of Eorzea and beyond with an all-new graphics update. The long-awaited female Hrothgar playable race is the only one of many exciting additions and upgrades that will enrich your journey. And they do look cool. A lot of people are ragging on them, but I actually think they look really good. They could have looked a lot worse. They look really good. To me, they look really good. Like, even their in-game models. Their in-game models looked exactly what I was expecting. And you know what? I don't think I've ever said this before. But I'm going to go into theory mode for you two for a second. I promised myself I wasn't going into theory mode. But I will go into theory mode now. So... do everybody remember this? Gunhildr, the Queen of Bosja. Now, back when Bosja was added to the game, we had the Hrothgar. However, we didn't have the female Hrothgar yet. And we were introduced to a female character who is apparently the Queen of the Hrothgar. But she's a Rogadin. So my question is this. Was the Queen Gunhildr supposed to be a female Hrothgar? But she was edited last minute to be a Rogadin. Because Hrothgar culture revolves around the females. They're the queens, what their society revolves around. So I'm thinking if that's going to be a retcon, that eventually they're going to change this model. I think it's a bit late now, but I think originally they were supposed to do that. But in the end, they just made her a Rogadin. So I don't think they can retcon it. That particular queen was originally a servant that was elevated to the queen. Okay. Okay. My body of lore is a bit off then. There's a concept art of her and it was a Hrothgar. Okay. I don't remember that. I seriously don't remember that then. Oh. Female Hrothgar teaser in the new art. No, that's not it. No, that's not a Hrothgar. Is it? No, that's not a Hrothgar. Is it? Oh, so it was teased in the Art of Reflections book. Okay, I don't have that book. Yet. Oh, the ears. Okay. Yeah, so it was teased. Yeah, okay. So there, she was supposed to be... Well, female Hrothgar do exist. But apparently... Yeah, I'm going to go with that. That she was originally a servant who was elevated to queen. But... yeah, I'm going to have to go through my lore again. So never mind my theory. My theory is apparently crap. But I'm assuming that's what they planned. They originally planned her to be a female Hrothgar, but they had to retcon it to be a Rogadin in the end. Okay, where was I? Yeah, so female Hrothgar. I'm going to say it again. I've said it 3 times. They look really good. The Hrothgar people hail from Ilsabard, a Turali people with shared ancestry, the Zabral, called the Dawntrail home. The Hrothgar people hail from Ilsabard, a Turali people with shared ancestry, the Zabral, called Dawntrail home. Females number relatively few among the population, but are relatively identified by their lithe muscular forms. Equally distinctive is their predisposition for leadership. Okay, so this is where you were talking about a hint for the Zabral. God. Okay, let's have him back out. Where was I? Dang it. There we go. So that makes sense. So the Zabral are a tribe of Hrothgar. And we'll likely see the matriarchal... We'll see the more of a matriarchal society. But that's interesting. Okay, so we know who the Zabral are. So the Zabral are Hrothgar. So, first graphical updates. The game's first major graphical overhaul adds a host of visual improvements, including enhanced texture and statue resolution, and improved material qualities for characters and environments. Experience the world of Eorzea and beyond like never before. So, I think they're keeping to the plan of the graphical update will primarily be around... No, the graphical update is full. But in terms... Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, the graphical update is across the board. But the new glamours... or the new glamour changes will be only for Dawntrail, then it'll be for Endwalker, then it'll be for Shadowbringers, and so on. So, yeah, 2 dies applied. So that system, if I recall correctly, will be added only for Dawntrail gear first, then Endwalker gear, then eventually, sometime far down the line, a Realm Reborn gear, which is what I want. So long as they don't touch my helmet. If they don't touch my helmet, I'll be a happy cookie. I don't want my helmet to be dyed. But yeah, that's nice that they stuck a little bit of lore in there. That's interesting. I have to update my records about that one. And then we have the standard stuff about what's going to be happening, which is same old, same old. Is there any new media that we need to know about? So artwork. Nope. I still don't like this. I still don't like that. It's a guitar on a bow. Harp on a bow, I'll go with. This, not so much. I'm assuming they're gonna rock out to it. But it just doesn't look right. And when I was looking at it, as they were actually showing off the bard was clipping through this weapon constantly, which wrecks my immersion. So if I ever got that weapon and I was a bard, I wouldn't use it because the clipping would drive me nuts. So that would be a no for me. The other jobs do look really cool as well. Like, see, that's really nice. I like that color scheme. That's a simple but striking color scheme, isn't it? Like that's a pretty bunny. I like that. And the other jobs got some similar improvements as well. Their artifact gear. I like that. It's more of like a battle scholar. That's good. I like that. What if they add guitar riff sounds when doing weapon skills? That would drive me nuts, Mex. Imagine you're listening to something like when a bard does their ability, it's a nice harp. And then with the guitar you have, and then it's every 10 seconds. I think that would drive me nuts. I'd be crying out for a feature to disable bard sounds. That's... Oh yeah, that's Gunbreaker. So another eye patch again. Very interesting. I like the chains. So that's a nice artifact gear. I'm not going to go too much into this, but I do actually I want to look at the rest of them actually, to be honest. Let's see. Because this is a good look at them, because we only got a glimpse of them during their actions. It's a nice sword. Sword looks familiar. I'd like a bit of lore behind that. The armor is nice. Overall, it looks similar to the rest of the armors we've seen with them. I really wish to ditch this color scheme for the paladin, to be honest, because it's been done. We're done with it. The warrior, typical. Very visceral. The axe is not bad. It's a bit over the top. What's this? Oh, this is Dark Knight. Typical long sword. Okay. I like this symbol in the middle. They look very simple, but I like simple. Simple is good. Then I'm assuming this is White Mage. Yeah. So tell me what part of that is unworked wood, because usually they use stats as unworked wood. Yeah, White Mage stats are getting a bit out of control. I love this. This is so simple and beautiful. I love it. Look at that. That is a glamour. That's a glamour I can get behind. Look at his nails. His nails are entirely different colors as well. I'm assuming that's something to do with the hands. It changes the nail color. But this is a really cool outfit. It's simple. Like, simplicity is something I really value when it comes to glamour. I mean, look at my character. My character is very simple. Simple is something I really get behind. Ah, that's so nice. I love just the look at the fabric looks really cool. Especially with the new graphic update. What's Sage look like? Sage looks like it hasn't changed. It looks like it used to look like. So it's got the paladin problem. It looks like the paladin. Looks like the Wizard Apprentice from Mickey Mouse. Okay. Oh, I like these weapons. They're more... Yeah, they're more warlike. I like that. The monks have always gotten really good glamours in my opinion. They keep it simple and functional. That looks functional to me. So I like that. Their weapon also kind of looks functional. I don't like this spike sticking out here because it looks like they'd easily stab themselves in the hand. So I don't like that part of their weapon. Dragoons. Not bad. Not amazing, but not bad. I mean, it looks like what I think a dragoon would look like. So I think that's what they're going for. They were trying to make it look like a dragoon. Yeah, the monk weapons don't look too bad. I like them. It's just there's certain parts of them I don't like that spike. Because I don't like weapons that don't look functional. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't use weapons that don't look functional. This doesn't look functional. This looks like something I'd easily hurt myself with if I punch something. Because you punch it, this thing's going to go back into your arm. So I'm not a fan of weapons like that. Dragoon, I'm not too chuffed. Well, it's alright. I like the ponytail behind. It is nice. It's a nice spin on Dragoon, but they could have gone a bit different with it. Ninjas look cool. I do like the gold accents and the color. The color scheme is definitively ninja. The weapons are nice as well. The Rogadin makes the proportions look weird. It's just, yeah, it's the way they are. Samurai. That sword looks really cool. That sword looks a lot longer than the usual samurai sword. Usually samurai sword ends right here. This thing looks really long. So whatever this artifact weapon is, the weapon's going to be very long. Their armor looks what a samurai I think would look like, which is what they're going for. It looks really nice. It's simple as well. Samurais have always gotten good armors. This is Reaper. The Reaper looks really nice. The weapon looks really cool. It looks like, I mean, I like the feathers. And then you have the scythe. And the weapon looks very intricate as well, with chains running along it as well. It looks really cool. Doesn't look the most wieldy with all those chains on it, but their armor as well is really nice. I like it curves up, so it matches their body line as well, which is really good. The helm I'm not so enthusiastic about, but it kind of blends with the rest of the outfit. Sephiroth length katana. We wish. We'll never get that. And I've already said my piece about the bards. Their outfit is nice enough. I like the cowboy look. Cowgirl. But I'm just not a fan of this weapon. This weapon has far too much clipping for my liking. Machinist. The machinist weapon is really nice. Look at that weapon. It kind of looks like it looks like a shotgun from the Old West. I like that. It's nice. And their outfit is typical machinist. It looks like the rest of their outfits, to be honest. They really should start customizing this a little more. But I like the spurs on the back of their boots. Very cowboy. It's not bad. It's just, it looks like the rest of the machinist glamours, to be honest. Elephant handgun. Fuck. No, don't be saying that. Black mage. I like the black cat at the top. It's a bit on the nose. I'm assuming this is the primary gem which the rest of the staff is worked around. I like the fact that it's unworked wood. So it's natural wood. This is what I'd expect from the white mage. And then you have the primary gem here, and then you just have a topping. So this thing is just decorative. The primary source of the staff is right here with the crystal. Their outfit is really nice. I like the scarf that they have going off this side here. And their hat is very typical black mage, but they make it it looks more fashionable for a black mage. It's not like, oh, I'm a dangerous, dark, gloomy individual. They make them look more approachable, which I like. It's just the weapon is a bit weird, but it's not too bad. I like it. Summoners. The summoners have taken on a really unique look here. They kind of look... I do actually like it. It has a lot more freedom of movement as well, which is what I'd expect for a summoner. They look like they're dressed up for a more cold region though. And you've got your chicken nugget. Their weapon is not too bad. I'm not really a fan of weapons like this with very sharp implements. Like with my own weapon. I'm not a summoner, but same thing applies. I don't like this weapon. For one reason. This weapon would be perfect if it didn't have these damn spikes on it at the bottom. Because these spikes, I look like I'm going to stab myself in the gut with this weapon. If I even drop my book for a second, I'm going to stab myself in the gut. I hate weapons like this. I'm assuming it looks fine on another race. If another race held my weapon, it would look fine. But with a Lalafell, it doesn't work. So, yeah, another pet peeve of mine. This thing, I think I'd probably stab myself. So, yeah. That's my pet peeve. I'm glad you agree, Rue. Red Mage. I mean, it looks like a red mage. I like the dark leather contrast here. That's nice. They don't look too bad, to be honest. They look like what a red mage should look like, but they've put a nice spin on it. The weapon, the rapier, is pretty nice as well. I do like... Oh, I'm assuming these 4 gems move independently. I really hope they do. The weapon is a rose as well. That's interesting. So the guard is a rose. Where the blade comes... Oh, the blade comes out, does it? So it pops out of the rose. But where's that held? If it pops out a rose. I don't think I ever saw that. Or did... Maybe I'm overthinking this. It's not too bad. I like the rapier. It does look a bit thicker. Doesn't look very one-handed wieldy. But not too bad. Not too bad. You're limited on design choices when it comes to a red mage weapon. The crafters look pretty nice as well. So, I'm not really sure which crafter that is. Yeah, I can kind of guess that's a bloody blacksmith. Okay. Oh, look at that lava. She's adorable. Look at that. That botanist is really nice. I was soft for Lavafells, sue me. That's nice. Her legs are kind of broken, but it's nice. The cook, how's the cook? Nice, not too bad. Yeah. The crafter ones usually don't go into the realm of madness when it comes to the crafters. But I've gone through too much of them already. There's no new artwork regarding... Yeah, that's all the trailer. That's all the stuff we've already seen. Oh, there's the other ones. Okay, so there's extra dungeon artwork down here. Okay. So, there's a breach there. We never got an explanation of exactly what this art is. It's a dungeon of some kind. There's ships here of some kind. And we breached through the front gate. Or somebody did. And then you have this location as well, which is... We saw this a while ago, but we're not exactly sure what it is. It's clearly within Solution 9, so maybe there's a competitor in here. So this is going to be one of our competitors in the contest. But I think that's pretty much everything regarding the promotional website I wanted to go through. So I suppose we'll finish off just by going through my playthrough. So let me see, footage recordings. Playthrough 6.55. Okay. I think music was playing during it, so let me cancel that. Okay, so
there.
Alright, so let me see. I need to put my stream back on. Okay. Kryle, you're looking lovely as usual.
Where did you go, if I may?
He went home to get laid, I think. I'm assuming that male bunnies are a commodity as well.
I'm Wyrmlimion,
I'm
claimant to the
Wyrmlimion.
throne of Tural.
Claimant to the throne of Tural. Okay, so she's like, what?
Tural.
Tural.
It's as if they were reeds who flew to the edge of existence. But apparently, the contest will involve the fabled city of gold and the legendary beast, Wyrmlimion.
So, this is the first thing we got regarding the contest. So, we know there's going to be a contest for the throne. I've already gone through this. There's going to be 4 participants. She's one of them. Apparently, the contest will involve the fabled city of gold and the legendary beast, Wyrmlimion. So... Oh yeah, I should really put the music back on. So apparently part of this contest is going to be taking on, or taking out, possibly, Wyrmlimion. We don't know exactly what it is. Maybe it's a test of strength that we have to face Wyrmlimion. Wyrmlimion is apparently a legendary beast. We've already discussed that. So, he's up here. So, the trial, the contest, involves Wyrmlimion, or Wyrmlimion, but we don't know how. It's held as the mightiest in all Tural, so it's obviously one of the strongest, if not the strongest beast that we are going to encounter, or supposed to encounter, and it's called the Sky Rune. Exactly how it fits into this contest is unclear, but I'm going to assume it might be a test of strength that we have to face and overcome Valley Garmanda. Valley Garmanda might actually be allied with the Dawn Servant. We never know. Maybe it's agreed. It might be smarter than it looks. Maybe it has intelligence. And maybe it actually fits into the overall trial that's happening. Don't forget, this contest wasn't created by Galul Jaja. Galul Jaja is the first Dawn Servant. He was the one that brought all the tribes together under his umbrella and created Tural. So he brought all the tribes together, brought the continent together essentially. And he's ruled ever since then, and now he's stepping down. But he doesn't want all of his work over the past 80 plus years to go and lead to disaster. Which, if you think about it, has a lot of precedent in the real world as well. So the Mongols are a great example. The Mongol Empire under Genghis stretched the length and breadth of Asia almost, and it went largely into parts of Europe as well. Then after Genghis's death, his empire, which was unified at the time, was split into multiple other empires, like the Golden Horde and stuff like that. So he's trying to prevent Tural and Tural from fracturing into civil war, essentially. So him making this contest in order to ensure that the next person to rule Tural essentially keeps everything together. So instead of just going, I give my oldest son this, I give my youngest son this, like Genghis did, he's made this contest. So he's not favoring anybody. So anybody can go for the throne as long as they have a legitimate path to it, apparently. And apparently there's 4 claimants for it, which we already know, and Wukulmat is one of them. So the immediate heir to Genghis wasn't very motivated to rule. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It's pretty much, it would pass over a couple of rulers, I think, until it ended up in Kublai Khan's hands afterwards. But my Mongol history is not very good either. But back to this. So let's continue on.
Tell me that doesn't pique your interest.
It kind of does. We don't know exactly how the City of Gold factors into this. We don't even know what the City of Gold is. We're all assuming that the City of Gold is Solution 9. I mean, the City of Gold, for all we know, could be over here. Like, the City of Gold is obviously inspired by El Dorado. It would be a bit too obvious for this to be the City of Gold. It's sitting just to the north of Shaoloni. And I'm assuming it's pretty much an eyesore. You can't miss it. So maybe the City of Gold is somewhere else. And we just don't realize it yet. Could be over here. Never know. Or it's just hidden. Now, what else did they have to say?
And dependable companion.
Yes.
I think I understood something of how he felt when I set foot in his beloved studium.
City of Gold was the friends we made along the way, and the sun shining at a specific angle.
Building to the
Oh,
northeast.
that's very, they wouldn't do that to us, would they? No, they're not going to do that to us. Alright, so this is my playthrough of that location. I proceeded to spend ages looking around at screenshots. We've got this big bird here. Alright, and then Cryle is going to show up eventually.
I'm glad to have been of service. Sea in search of Heidelin.
Yeah, poor Cryle.
And after much deliberation, I arrived at my answer.
I don't think Solution 9 is visible to people of Tural. That would make sense to me as well. It would be a bit of an eyesore. Now see, Cryle demonstrated you don't have to be a great artist to be a pictomancer. Just a doodle will do. Has the same effect.
With the to those widely spoken overseas and created an altogether new one.
Now, where all this starts is apparently Galul Jaja sent a letter to Kral's grandfather, Baldessian, And apparently Baldessian may have had dealings with Gulul Jaja and Tural in the past, which makes sense. There was an open route for travel to and from Tural. We don't know exactly how much he was involved, so we don't know exactly what Galuf was doing there, or why Gulul Jaja specifically reached out to him. Maybe it was probably because of the City of Gold.
My grandfather indeed had dealings with Tuliolal.
Yep, we don't know why though. Now, we need to, yeah, this is the scene we need to get to, because she explains a lot of different things regarding, yeah, there's music as well, so. She explains a lot about...
I'd heard that Charlayan cuisine was terrible, but this is fantastic.
I like her voice actor.
Please, the growing Harnish population here in Charlian.
Us cannot be allowed to rule us.
Yeah, so...
And he wishes to... And they've been fighting each other for nearly as long. The fighting finally stopped some 80 years ago, when the reigning Dawn Servant unified the disparate communities and founded a new nation.
Tural History 101.
And that's how Tuliolal came to be.
Tuliolal. I'm just going to call it that, yeah.
Since then, we've enjoyed an era of uninterrupted peace. But my father is getting old, and he wishes to relinquish the throne to a worthy successor. One who can preserve his legacy.
That's literally what I just said a few minutes ago. So he wants his legacy preserved, which is why he made the contest.
Including myself, there are 4 claimants to the throne.
Now, we've already gone through the 4 claimants as well. We've already seen it on the artwork, which I think I already had the artwork here as well. So let me open up the artwork. Oh, maybe I don't have the artwork. Never mind. Alright, never mind. Yeah, but we already know about the 4 participants. So she's one of the participants. Her brother Quona is a second participant. I actually have a picture of him, don't I? Or I did have a picture of him. Dang it, where is it? Oh, never mind. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Alright. Alright, so these are the two other participants that we know of. So, first participant is Wyrmlimion. I really need to bring the chat back up. So, Wyrmlimion is the first participant. Second participant is her brother Quana, who is apparently a Charlian scholar. Looks very much like the atypical Charlian. Then the third participant, which finally got a name in the last live letter, which is Bakul Jaja, a dual-headed Mamulja. Now, the fourth participant we don't actually know, but we're assuming it's the lady who's standing on top of the Dawntrail artwork. So, I need to bring her up. There she is. Open the image in a new tab. Thank you. There you go. So, the 4 participants are now known. So, we have Wyrmlimion. This is not a two-headed... Now that I'm realizing it. Now that I'm looking at this artwork. This is not a two-headed... Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So, let's look at this again. Bakul Jaja is one of the participants. Then you have this one-headed Mamulja, or standard Mamulja. Then you have Quana, who's up here. Then you have the Dawn Servant, who's here. And then you have this lady, who we're assuming is the 4th participant. Okay, I can't really explain that. The fact that he's different. So maybe this is not the... Maybe they're not showing the antagonist in the artwork at all. So they're showing 3 out of the 4 participants, but they're not showing the 4th participant. So maybe this is somebody else. Maybe this is an ally we're going to be allying with. Or maybe it's somebody who's going to be... Like, maybe we could split this off into 3. So, let me take a snip here real quick. So... let's try this real quick. So split this off. Up we go. So, so first participants are us. So that's the first team. Team 2. Team 3. And then Team 4 is whoever the guy is. Whoever Bakul Jaja is. Maybe that's why. Okay. Okay. Some people say she is a Garlean, and it is the real motivation for her brother for wanting to invade Garlemald. No, but the person who wants to invade Garlemald is Bakul Jaja. But it's entirely possible. They could be just step siblings. Could she be a Garlean? Well, her hair is covered in her forehead, so... I don't think so, to be honest. I think that's a stretch. I think that's a big stretch. Now, that puts Garlemald into the mud. I don't think that's going to happen. You never know, it could happen, but I don't think so. I like this, though. We all thought he was the antagonist until we saw this. Which is interesting. So, our team. Thancred, Nurianji, and Kawana's team, essentially. Then a third team, and then a fourth team. And then whoever Estinian is going to be fighting with. Maybe Estinian's with her. Never know. It would be silly to assume Garlemald never tried to expand to Tural. It's true. It's the same vein that the Allegan Empire never tried to expand to Tural. Well, we don't know. Okay, so I'm a bit thrown off now by this artwork. I'm assuming they had already had the idea for Bakul Jaja a long time ago. So, I'm assuming it has nothing to do with this artwork anymore. Okay, I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to assume these are 3 of the 4 teams. So, let's go back to this.
But while we all have the right to participate, one among us cannot be allowed to rule.
Okay, she's talking about your man.
A man who is too ambitious by half.
Ernvale knows who he is. Too ambitious
Word
by
of
half.
the Garlean Empire's collapse has reached Tural.
Uh-huh.
While most are simply relieved, he sees weakness to exploit and would lead our armies across the seas on a campaign of conquest.
Now, this is something else as well. Originally, when I read this, when I was doing the playthrough, while most are simply relieved, he sees weakness to exploit and would lead our armies across the seas on a campaign of conquest. Does that mean he wants to conquer Garlemald? Or Eorzea? It makes sense to me that Eorzea would be the target. Now that the Garlean Empire is out of the picture and they're no longer targeting Eorzea, it leaves Bakul Jaja free to take the throne of the Dawn Servants and then target Eorzea for whatever frickin' reason. I don't know why he wants to. Unless he knows something we don't. Everybody seems to target Eorzea. But I don't know his motivations. Targeting Garlemald is a tricky situation. It's far inland, up north. You'd have to go through a lot of territories to get to Garlemald. Consider this, Garlemald was a deterrent for the Greek continents militarily. That's true as well. While they were around, people didn't mess with them. And apparently this is what kicked off Bakul Jaja.
After everything my father has done to give us peace, he would drag us back into war.
Which is why she's fighting for the throne now. She probably never thought to fight for the throne.
I can't allow it.
Which is why now she's fighting for the throne.
No matter what, I must win this contest.
Which is why she's in on this now. We don't know her brother's motivations though, Kawana.
I understand your reasons. But this being an event that will dictate the course of your nation's future, is it appropriate for outsiders like us to be involved?
Which is what I originally thought. I don't think we have any business being involved.
It's more than appropriate. The Dawn servant himself expressly encourages it.
For some reason.
The ruler of Tural must navigate the
Tural might be the strongest nation now militarily, considering advanced arcane arts and possibly technology.
intricacies of
Can't answer that
myriad
yet.
cultures.
We'll find out.
And there's no better way to prove oneself qualified to do so than
Don't
to work
forget,
with foreign allies.
Eorzea is now united, so the Eorzean alliance might be the strongest. We just don't have any motivations.
That's why I sought you out. Through our hunt, I've confirmed that you're a warrior of considerable skill, but more importantly, one of good character as well.
Appreciate it. Oh, that food's making
And
me hungry.
so I ask you, will you lend me your strength and help me win the throne of Tulihualal?
Okay, TLDR, we don't necessarily know, and we decide to go on a kind of like a fact-finding mission to find out exactly why we should or shouldn't actually do this. It leads us to the library. So, Catamaran spent several moons exploring inland, in the course of which he encountered denizens of the sprawling nation of Mamulja. He was granted audience with a supreme leader whose confidence he won, along with permission to roam freely. Okay, so fair enough. So that's Catamaran's story, essentially. Now, I still say... I caught that answer in a good way. The books go into a lot of lore, but not really much that actually concerns us. So I'm just going to skip over them. I already know about Catalaram, Perpachos, and I have a newfound appreciation for them, so do I. And the City of Gold. Okay. We have the twins here as well. The point I want to go to is here. This is the next point. Yeah, that's the one. Thancred is watching us from a distance as well, which is very rogue of him.
Oh, it's just... Despite all that we've learned, I can't help but feel we've yet to hear the whole story.
We haven't. There's a lot we haven't heard.
What about you, my friend? Are you inclined to accept or refuse Wyrmlimon's request?
And I believe I answered, I still don't think we should be involved. Yeah, I'm still undecided. That was my answer. I was pretty quick about giving that answer. Because I still don't think we have any business being in there.
I don't blame you. No matter the assurances, it's no simple thing to wade into the midst of a political struggle. And in a foreign land at that.
Not to mention, we're one of the strongest beings alive. We tip the scales.
How about this then? Instead of deciding here, go there first and then decide.
Yeah, so this is where essentially we've been left.
In the course of seeing new lands and meeting new people, you'll surely find a way forward. That's what adventurers do, is it not? Such a journey would be the envy of many a scholar. Distant as it is, Tural remains largely unknown to us, with only meager records to be found in Numenor. The experiences to be had, all the things you might hear, feel, and think.
Nice.
It's enough to stir me to the core.
And you're not coming with us, you damn cat. I'm gonna miss Graha.
Life is a series of journeys, my friend.
Yeah, I was using my
and
old...
there's no telling what awaits us on the long road. But what's important...
Alright, so yeah, Thancred being Thancred, of course. So he knows we're on our way. But essentially, this all boils down to, we haven't made up our minds yet, but we decide we want to go with you lot, and the twins are coming with us as well. And then we'll make up our minds when we're there. And Grahatia, with his lovely smile on his face, is going to be staying behind. That brings us to where we are now. So when you look at the map and you look at Charlene itself, Wyrmlimion is standing there almost ready to go. And she says, it's a shame we couldn't stay here for longer. I think this is where the quest is going to start. So the moment we log in for Dawntrail, everybody's going to be gathering around her. And she's like, it's a shame we can't stay here. And then she'll finish that conversation there. And she says, Grahatia is down at the docks. We should go see your friend and get ready to depart for Tural. So we make our way down here. There's going to be a constant stream of people running down here. Hop to it. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Running down, running down, running down, which is everybody's going to do. We're going to run around here. And then we're going to end up by this ship on the side here, with Grahatia helping to get everything packed and ready to go. This is likely the ship we're going to be taking to get where we're going. There's no other reason for Grahatia to be standing here. So, I think this is what's going to happen. We're going to talk to Wyrmlimion. We're going to come down here. We're going to say our goodbyes to Grahatia. Everybody else is going to join us. This boat's going to get unpacked like they're currently trying to do. We're going to hop on and we're going to get sailing. So, you found Alize. She was on the Levier Manor balcony. Oh, is she? Okay, I'll go up and see her now. It's happened before, Mex, to be honest. People have crowded other NPCs before. The annex is a good possibility as well. Right. She's on the balcony. I want to have a talk with her. I'm assuming up here. I've been in here before. Just recently. Oh wait. No, that's not her. Oh, there's an outside balcony, isn't there? Robon Savage was absolutely savage. I talked about Robon Savage in my last stream. Okay, there you are, matey. Okay. Is it strange that after traveling to the literal edge of existence, a simple journey across the ocean has me so excited? No. In any case, after hearing of Kryle's exploits on the Isle of Ham, it seems I have my work cut out for me if I'm to keep up. Indeed. I found Kryle, but not Alpha now. Yeah, Kryle's knocking around as well. Kryle's at the edge there talking about a couple of different things. I saw her on my last stream. But I didn't know Alize was here. So the only one missing is Alpha now. Wherever he is. No sign of a Stinian. I'm assuming Stinian's already gone. He's already left. And Thancred and Urianje, they're not going to let us speak to them until we need to speak to them. So, is there anything else that needs covering here?
The site of your next great adventure, Tural.
Tural. Oh, that's meme worthy. That is meme worthy right there, isn't it? Look at that. You just have a picture of the Warrior of Lights right here, and Grahatia is like, behold. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through. I like this map. It's a more full map. Really wish we could uncover this. Like, we have Mare City here. And then we still have this bloody cow over here, which drives me nuts. And up here as well. I'm assuming it's just cloud as well. I don't think there's anything up here. We never know. Because that's... Kugane is here. I think there's some islands here. But we haven't really done that in there. And then, of course, you have Mercedia and a boat down there. Interesting. So, Estinian will shipwreck in Tural on his tiny fishing boat. You know Estinian's going to get overcharged for that fishing boat, though. Poor guy. You know him. He pays for his way in a number of ways. And then, essentially, it finishes off after that. I don't know how Estinian paid for his trap, to be honest. I'm assuming he still had some gold. I mean, I'm assuming maybe he got some gold off... he might get some gold off of Vitra when he left. I mean, he had to get rewarded somehow. He was doing it for himself, of course, because of his connection with the First Brood. But I assume he got paid and rewarded for his services by the satrap. He pays in exposure and cloud and sweat. But essentially, I think that's everything we needed to go through regarding the plot that's coming up. There's not really much more information that we have. We might get a couple more bits of teaser information on this promotional website, because this website is far from finished. Like, if I remember the other ones, they had a lot more information. Unfortunately, they're not around anymore. Yeah, he probably got paid for training the Radiant Host. That's a good point. But yeah, essentially, that's everything I wanted to go through regarding Dawntrail, and that's everything we do know. There was one thing I was thinking of, though. I was looking through my notes. Or specifically, let me bring up... I keep a record of the dialogue. I want to finish with this theory mode. I know I said I wasn't going to do theories, but I'm going to finish with this theory. So let me quickly bring up my information sources. MSQ. Endwalker. Okay. And this thing never functions properly. So... I need to find something real quick. Give me a second. Wyrm, you were wondering about the space exploration thing before. There's some cool quest dialogue I could send your way if you're interested. Sure, send it my way if you want. Where's the thing I was looking for? Yeah, so it's after this point. So that's where we look at the library books. It's a conversation with Grahatia. Yeah. Yeah, it's Grahatia. Yep, okay. So there's a cutscene that's not voiced. So it goes like this. Now then, I'm quite keen to hear your honest impressions. I couldn't help but notice that as we read the very same book on cuisine, I was pleasantly surprised, yep. Among them, did any pique your interest? I think I saw this in the cutscene as well. So, yes, the renowned Limion explorer who travelled the Indigo Deep and discovered the unknown West. And his accomplishments didn't end there. He travelled Tural extensively, and even forged a friendship with the Dawn Servant, which we already know the lore about. If we were able to meet Katemram, and what things would we learn? Alas, all of this happened nigh 80 years ago, which I think is a way of saying 80 years ago. We'll get back to that, Rue. So, alas, all of this happened nigh 80 years ago, and he may no longer be alive to tell his tales. This line caught my eye. So, let me say it again. If we were able to meet Katemram, what things could we learn? Alas, all of this happened nigh 80 years ago, and he may no longer be alive to tell his tales. An emphasis on the may. He may not be alive. Is it possible that Katemram could actually pop up in Dawntrail? Is it possible he's actually still alive? Maybe he's living out his retirement years in Nimsala Minsa. Or maybe he went back to the New World. Maybe he's living in Tyroliol. if it is true, I'd love to meet the guy. He sounds like a character. Like, he sounds a bit egotistical, but I would like to know if there's any truth to this, because they just giving us that little tidbit is just nice. I would love to meet the guy, and I'm sure there's a lot we could learn about him, and a lot he could tell us, especially in regards to the contest. Yep, this made me start speculating on a fun theory that Katemram is like a Davy Jones type undead water lich. That's a hell of a theory. I wouldn't go that far myself. No. I think he's a regular Rogadin. I don't know how long Rogadins live. But all this happened a long time ago. I'm fairly certain Katemram was like nigh 40 years. Hang on. 40 years ago. How long is a score in years? 20 years. Okay, so a score is 20 years. So it's 80 years. So 40 years ago is 80 years. So I was right. Okay, that's fine. That matches up to the lore. For a second there, I thought they retconned it. So it still is 80 years. But yeah, I'll be interested to find out if that happens. But I think that's everything I wanted to go through. So I don't think there's anything else that we need to pick at in regards to Dawntrail. That's pretty much all the information we have. And as I said, I'm not going to go into full theory mode. I have a million theories, but I wanted to keep to the facts as much as I could. So, yeah, essentially that's it. So we know a bit, but not a lot, regarding Tural and Tyroliol and the Dawn Servant. Koji, I think, said the Rose lived close to 100 years. So, yeah, assuming he was young. Assuming Katemram was young back then. It's entirely possible he's alive. Or maybe he's not even going by Katemram anymore. Maybe he's going by a different name. Maybe Katenram, because Katenram doesn't really sound like much of a Rogan name, does it? It doesn't sound like this. It sounds more natural than that. So maybe Katemram is a title. So maybe he goes by a different name nowadays. Maybe he's somebody we already met before and we just didn't realize it. Don't forget Mistbeard, for example, is a different Rogan altogether. So, yep, that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through. So I think we'll just leave it at that. But I'll just quickly look at the promotional site again to see if there's anything I'm missing. I am going to do another stream in a few days. Because we did get information regarding the new benchmark. So I'm thinking your link didn't work, Rue. Sorry. I don't think chat allows links. But yeah, they've already released information regarding the launch of the new benchmark. So the benchmark is coming out in 2 days on Monday, June 3rd. I'll have a look into it, Rue. Thank you. Harbinger of Breath and Labyrinthos. Okay, I definitely will look into that. Thank you. But yeah, I think I'm going to stream again on Monday. It's a bank holiday for us, so I should be able to stream again. I wanted to do something non-lore related this time. So, since we're getting the benchmark, and they put a lot of work into actually getting it up and running, they really didn't have to. But I'm glad they're doing it. And it does look really good. If you haven't looked at the new screenshots yet, they showed off some of it. Like, the Lalafels look really good. Look at the Lalafels. Look at their eyes. Their eyes look really good. Like, I really like them. But what I'm going to do on Monday evening is I'm going to do a stream regarding the benchmark. And I'm going to show people how to optimize the benchmark for their own rigs. So, as you know with the benchmark, it allows you to see whether or not your current hardware will allow you to play the upcoming Dawntrail expansion effectively, especially with the new graphics update. It's not putting as much of a hit as people thought it would on people's rigs. There's not really that much of a difference. It's higher specifications than needed for Endwalker, of course, but not massive amounts. But I'm going to do a stream that will show people how to optimize properly their rigs based on the settings. So I assume there's a lot of people who are going to be doing their benchmarks and trying to dial them in to the proper settings. So we're going to go through that together, and I'm going to dial my own one in from top to bottom or bottom to top. So we'll do that on Monday night, I think. But anyway, I think that's pretty much everything from me. So I think we'll just leave it at that. So I appreciate everybody showing up on this lovely Saturday. I'm getting starving now, which is also when we want to finish up now. But look forward to my stream in a couple of days. And in regards to my videos, I am working on one video at the moment. I'm not really sure if I'm going to release it or not. I'm pretty much scripting it at the moment. But I want to release one more video before Dawntrail. And then for Dawntrail, I'm going to go on hiatus for a couple of weeks. And I'll probably make a couple of videos regarding Dawntrail's plot. But it's dependent on whether or not I feel like doing it regarding Dawntrail plot. I think I definitely will. But depending on how the plot works out and what the video ends up being like. But more than likely I will make one more video before Dawntrail. But anyway, everybody have a good night and have a good one.